Today I'm going to show you how to vacuum seal pasta. Hello everybody, this is Deb from Just Do Something Homestead, and today we're going to talk all about how to vacuum seal and store your pasta. Not only is pasta an excellent addition to your pantry, it is versatile, it's easy to cook, but it is also very easy to store. And I preserve a lot of different foods in a lot of different ways, but my favorite is always by vacuum sealing. Vacuum sealing in jars keeps critters out, whether we're talking insects or mice. It preserves your food and it extends the best by date. Those alone are some wonderful reasons why you might want to get a vacuum sealer. There are many different types of vacuum sealers on the market, and then there are also many different models. My favorite is my old standby, the Food Saver. This is from the series FM5200, and I also have the small one, which is a handheld rechargeable. I use this for short-term storage while I use my large machine for long-term storage. When you're looking to buy a Food Saver, one of the most important things you need is the port that is across the top. That will enable you to be able to vacuum seal in jars. The difference between long-term storage and short-term is that if you want it to store for more than a year or 2 years or maybe even 10 years, you need a product that is strong enough to remove that air and keep a solid seal. That's why I have this Food Saver. For short-term storage, I have my Food Saver rechargeable handheld. This one lives in my kitchen. I only use this one if I have opened up a sealed jar, such as my pasta, and I won't be using it again for a week or two. Then I will seal it for short-term storage and keep it in my kitchen. One advantage of vacuum sealing is that you can save money. If you find a product that is on sale, you are able to purchase many boxes of it and then vacuum seal it to extend the best by date. Some other supplies you're going to need is canning jars. Now, when I am doing something like pasta, I always use my half-gallon canning jars. Since you are resealing them, it is easy just to take out what you need and then put it back on the shelf in your pantry. You're also going to need some lids or flats. Now, if you just purchased a case of canning jars, those rings and flats will be included in the box. For vacuum sealing, both the rings and the flats can be used over and over again. The very first thing you need to do is to wash all your brand new jars in warm, soapy water and make sure that they are completely dry. You don't want any moisture whatsoever. Same thing with your flats and your rings. Make sure everything is clean. You're going to need these jar sealer attachments. Now, in my last vacuum sealer that I just purchased a couple weeks ago, it had a regular size one included. Unfortunately, I usually vacuum seal with wide mouth jars, so I keep a couple extra sets of these on hand. You can purchase them from Amazon. I just looked it up. They're $13.99 for a set of 2. Another item that I like to use, but you definitely don't need in order to vacuum seal, is a wide mouth funnel. And what I can do is put that on the top of the jar. That way, when I pour in my pasta, it goes into the jar and not all over my counter. First, I'm going to start with 16 ounces of macaroni. I know from experience that when I pour this into my canning jar, I can put in about 2.5 boxes. Today, I only have 2 boxes, so there is going to be a huge airspace at the top. When you're vacuum sealing, that is fine. It does not need to be filled all the way to the top of the jar. As you can see, my macaroni went to about 4 inches from the top. That is fine. It's not a problem at all. Now take your hand and make sure there's no crumbs on the top of that rim. Place either a new or a used lid on the top of your jar. Place your jar sealer on top of the lid and push down until it snaps on. just like that. And then plug in the accessory to the port. You're going to want to turn on the power. This one automatically shows that it is dry food. And then I'm going to push accessory. Your vacuum sealer will shut off when it's finished. And it continues to get a little higher pitched as you get close to all the air being removed. At this point, you're going to pull off the top piece, remove the jar sealer, and check the seal. The way you check the seal is to look for that little indent in the center, and then to go around with your fingers and try to pull the lid off. If it does not come off, then you have a good seal. I like to write some information on the lid. The first thing I'm going to do is write what is in the jar, when the best by date is, and then how to cook it when we're talking about pasta. Typically, you can find the best by date on the bottom of the box. This one says August 22nd, 2025. So I am going to add 1 year to that, making it August 2026. Each pasta cooks for a different amount of time. This one is 9 to 11 minutes. So I'm going to put that on the lid as well. And this is what my lid looks like. You're going to want to store this in a dark, cool space, whether it's a pantry or in a location that you can control the heat and the cold. Next, I'm going to vacuum seal 2 boxes of penne pasta, doing the exact same thing I did with the elbow pasta. This time I was only able to fit 1.5 boxes into my jar, so I am going to rock it back and forth, thump it on my counter, and see if I can get a little bit more in there. It's gone down several inches, so I'm going to add some more into my jar. This one is good until April 2026, so the next step is to put a ring on it. One of the major differences between canned goods and vacuum sealed goods is that for canned goods, you do not put the ring on them to store them. When you vacuum seal, you do want the ring on it, and you want it on solid and tight. The ring protects your dried ingredients so that if it gets bumped or if it has a false seal and it pops, this ring is going to keep the lid on there so that your items will not become stale. You're going to want to store these into a nice, dark, cool room. Now, we are blessed in that our children are grown up and have gone, so we have a few extra rooms, and so I have an entire room that is my pantry. Last week, I had a subscriber who was really concerned about my shelves. She said, "You had better be careful if there's ever an earthquake, because they do hang out over the edge." Well, the reality is we have never had an earthquake here, but we bought this house 1 year ago, and these shelves were already here. But we are working on a better plan so that we can actually store more in this pantry. I have received some wonderful comments about my pantry, but the reality is I have not done this all in 1 year. This is about 10 years worth of stocking up and vacuum sealing. So when you're concerned about, I just don't have the money to put in something like that, you start with baby steps. If you find a sale on macaroni, you get 3 boxes instead of 1, and you learn how to vacuum seal and how to can. Thank you so much for joining us on this Stock Up Sunday, and join us next week as we talk about a different product and what is the best way to stock up on it. Have a blessed day, everybody. Bye-bye.